Rick Wimberly here, and welcome to this YouTube version of one of our episodes of our podcast, Myths of Selling to Government. This episode is No Selfish Behavior in Government Sales, one of our most popular episodes. It's part of a series of eps about building relationships in government that truly work and can lead to nice government contracts. For the full episode, go to wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, and enjoy. But what follows pretty much sums up why you cannot exhibit selfish behavior when you sell to the government. Enjoy, and let us know what you think. Today, we talk about Strategy 5 for building relationships and commitment in selling to the government. Minimizing perceived selfish behavior. Yours, not theirs. We all understand relationships have some selfish dimension. The buyer-seller relationship is certainly no exception. That's all right to a degree. Prospects aren't really looking for a new best friend. They realize you're getting paid to be nice to them. However, even in the buyer-seller scenario, where a certain degree of tolerance towards self-centered thinking exists, a line can be crossed where the prospect believes a salesperson's only real interest is himself. If a buyer believes the salesperson is willing to do or say anything in order to close a deal, you've got a recipe for relationship disaster. We've probably all experienced the feeling of being duped by some bozo who made unrealistic promises to make his sales quota for the day. Few things anger us more than an experience like this. It leaves us feeling betrayed and even guilty for not seeing through the charade. So, like pulling our hand away from a hot stove once burned, prospects withdraw themselves from a relationship at the first hint that a salesperson is being contriving and manipulative. People who work in government are particularly sensitive to the in-it-for-me salesperson. Most government employees, particularly those in a position to make buying decisions, consider themselves on a mission. They believe they're doing something more than making a living. They're doing their duty, when they could be in the private sector, making more money, working shorter hours, and dealing with fewer politicians. So, if they're doing their duty, they expect people they buy from to do theirs. Our goal in developing deeper relationship commitment is to minimize any chance the prospect will feel our motives are strictly selfish. Look for ways to help prospects achieve their goals with no expectation for an immediate payback for yourself. Most people can sense when motives are reasonably pure and when they're tainted with false sincerity. We think there are times when salespeople should simply do something good to make a situation or a person better. They may not buy from you immediately, but you've planted a relationship seed and you've made the world a little better. A desire to help others achieve their goals without the promise of immediate personal payback will no doubt help build relationship commitment and trust. Ultimately, good sales karma will follow you down the road. The long sales cycles typical in most government selling situations actually work to our advantage here. And like some others, government salespeople do not have to build rapport, establish trust, and close a sale within a 60-minute window. Remember, government buyers don't take their vendor relationships lightly. They're scrutinized in many ways for the vendor relationships they establish. Once they've established them, they don't mind efforts to maintain them. Don't be surprised if your efforts are not acknowledged immediately. This doesn't mean they're not noticing. Many times, we thought we were being unheard, only to get a call at the end of the fiscal year saying, "Hey, we've got some money left over to spend. Do you think you could freshen up that proposal and get it over to me in, say, 15 minutes? They were listening after all, and we spent the next 15 minutes refreshing a proposal. Follow up. Many times, we as salespeople are guilty of hit and runs. We make a sale and then run to the next prospect, leaving customers feeling abandoned and underappreciated. Even if you must hand off the account to a customer relations department, take the time to follow up or call to see how satisfied the customer is. And listen. Keep your eyes and ears open. Pay attention to what's going on with your customers and prospects. understand. And if you don't, ask questions. So there you have it. Highlights from our episode, No Selfish Behavior in Government Sales. You can get the full version wherever you listen to your podcast, along with about a year's worth of episodes on the myths of selling to government. Please subscribe and pass the word along to your colleagues. And if you have something troubling you about selling to government, send me an email, reach out on LinkedIn, or go through the govselling.com website. Chances are the same thing may have troubled me at some point, and we'll see if we can figure it out together. I sure appreciate the folks who've been listening to Myths of Selling to Government.